Ellen, we can't hear you.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
You're shown as muted on my screen.
Whose? Yours is muted.
Alan is.
Alan is muted.
Ah,
I mean,
better. Okay, I
there's-
unmuted you. You're, yeah.
But it says mute now on mine, so I don't know.
Anyone,
Can you guys hear me?
On is muted.
Yep, can hear you.
Okay, then I don't care what it says. All right, so call the meeting to order. And our first item on the agenda would be the Pledge of Allegiance.
Where's the,
I don't know.
Alan, would you like me to do a quick roll call prior to the pledge?
You could. Payroll.
Right.
Oh, it does. In little, yeah, there it is.
Supervisor
So
Goldberg.
before we say the pledge, Mr. Clerk, would you please take the roll?
I will. Supervisor Goldberg.
I'm here.
Trustee Eisenberg.
Here.
Trustee Moser.
Here.
Trustee Thomas.
Here,
Trustee Robbins.
Here.
Assessor Churchwell.
Here.
Director Ty.
here?
Communications expert McCall.
Yes, sir.
And Deputy Clerk Sandy Forrester.
Here.
Mr. Supervisor, we have a quorum virtually for business.
Well, that's good. Could you get the name of our esteemed guest?
Please, Gail, I want to put down our youngest attendee in the minutes.
Hi there. My name is Kate Cassell McNally. I'm a resident in Winnetka.
Welcome.
You're
Hi, Kate.
welcome.
Now, M-A
Welcome.
or M-C?
Okay, so now we'll
And-
say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
Okay, I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag
of
of the United States of America
and to the
to the republic for which it stands,
One nation.
one
nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Thank you.
Supervisor, could I ask our guest to spell out her name so that I get it right in the minutes, please?
Sure.
You
My
can
last-
ask for whatever you want.
My last name is 2 words, no hyphen. C-A-S-A-L-E space McNally, which is M-A-C capital N-A-L-L-Y. Thank you.
So please, you spelled it out for me so that we'll get it right. Okay, you'll be listed as a present member for our board meeting. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
You're most welcome. Are there any public comments? No. Okay. Well, then we'll move on to the approval of the minute meetings from our last meeting of the I believe it was the 28th. Would someone like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are accepted. Thank you. I'm having some difficulty seeing tonight, but that's not so unusual, I guess. The supervisor's report will be somewhat brief. We continue to deliver food to have people contact us, and our social worker endeavors to provide whatever services are necessary. We have made a pretty yeoman-like effort to find out from our previous food pantry clients who aren't showing up, why, and what, if anything, we could do about it. So far, we haven't heard anything. And if we don't, we've sent letters. If not, we'll be calling them. Maybe the addresses aren't right, or who knows, but we will reach out until we find something out. We'll continue to reach out. And if anyone has a suggestion as to a better way, let me know. Or more importantly, let Jean and Brian know. The gift cards or the food cards have been purchased. And I don't know if I told you at our last meeting or not, but Grand Food gave us a discount on those cards of $10 a card. And we bought over 300, so that turns into a nice amount of money.
Wow.
We cannot Federal Express them, which is what our original plan was, because Federal Express won't take them for, Diane can explain all the reasons. The bottom line is they wouldn't take them. So
Correct.
what we're doing is delivering them to the people at the various schools, the social workers and everyone else, and they will in turn pass them on. And that gives us another opportunity to, through the social workers at the school, to reach out to the families to let them know, by virtue of the fact that their kids are eligible for the reduced or free lunches, that the family is eligible and welcome to come and get food from our food pantry, so that we can get them more food than just this $100, but it's an avenue to get through, another avenue for us to get through to the people and let them know that it's available, and we're be thrilled to help them out if we can. I think that pretty much is the report. If anyone has any questions, if not, we'll move on to Jan's report.
Ellen, I have a question.
Yes,
Have the food cards then been dispensed to the various schools?
it's in process of happening right now. Jean missed a day. She had a sinus infection. She's back and they're being distributed and should be done being distributed by tomorrow.
And then with regard to the inquiry with our normal pantry attendees, our clients, those that aren't attending, was any discussion he had with Brian? Does he have any insights as to what might be causing the lag?
Not that he shared.
I could address that, Alan.
Good.
Okay, because I made some notes on that. Elliot, you'd asked that at the last meeting on the follow-up on that. And what I'll just do is give you a brief overview of where we are right now. With the pantry visits, we're basically just starting in week 9. We're looking back to the 16th of March, and so that's about 8 weeks plus the 2 days. We've had 223 visits, which represents 56 households. That's representing that 37. Now it's a little bit higher than last time. I think it was at 35. After the last meeting, I met with the staff, and we kind of went through the different ideas. I think I had mentioned that I thought the people were concerned about the virus and they didn't want to come in, and they were either having problems trying to get there, or they just felt like they just didn't need to get there. We had a big discussion on it, but I made a couple points if you want me just to run through that, just so you have a review.
Thank you, Diane. Very helpful.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, and this was, all of us agreed on all of these, actually, we were looking at. One of the things was elderly and sick clients are not coming out due to the COVID virus, just period. They're staying in and they're having family members help them, or whatever the case is. One of the suggestions was some clients made other arrangements and or receiving unemployment or food stamps, which addresses their current food needs at that point. I suggested that perhaps we would be a supplement, which dovetails into the fact that we do suggest when we see people or speak with them, when in the letter we did the same thing, to please tell their neighbors and their friends. Other ones were some rely on the public transportation and are afraid to use the buses and trains at this time, although there has been a lot of effort put forth to cleaning the CTAs and the trains. People are just perhaps simply afraid of doing that at this point. Some clients are irregular users and do not have the need. That was kind of an assumption all of us made, that if they're not here, they don't need the need at this time too. I think that's a sweeping assumption. My guess would be they're getting it from other sources if they're not using us on a regular basis. Another thought was that some clients rely on the healthcare workers who are not available or working at this point in time. And the other one was that there's some of the clients have mental health issues, and the virus has really raised their anxiety level and do not really want to leave their homes, which is really something that would be shared by, social workers or their kinds of case workers. So that's pretty much a recap of a long discussion we had. And so when you're looking at the 67%, a comment was made that we're not always functioning at 100% of the people all the time. So we're usually getting maybe 60, 65% based on their visits. So just looking at it mathematically, which is probably not the best way to do it, is if you're saying we're getting about 37% and we're usually getting 60 to 65, we're sitting at a 50% point. So that's the recap.
Diane, that's very helpful, and I think all those possibilities ring true, and I think there's a combination of factors. And again, I think as trustees, our follow-up is, if there's a way to communicate with those regular or semi-regular clients who are not coming, and if we could find out whether they would have an interest, if we could deliver the bags, I think we can make the representation to them that we're looking into. We don't have a solution, but we'd look into it and we would try to make it happen if we know that they need. If the need is there and they'd be interested, what we will do is we will investigate the possibility of having volunteers simply pick up the bags and drop them off. I don't think we need to formally create the program, but if the interest is there and people are not getting our food simply because they're afraid to come and get it, we might be able to bridge that gap.
Yeah, and I will certainly communicate that again, Elliot. And we did talk about that a little bit during our discussion. And one of the concerns is if we, and this was several comments I got, if we go ahead and actually say, we're looking at this, perhaps some people would assume that this is going to be going forward in the future or it's available right now. And one of them mentioned that, maybe that's not really fair to do to them. And then we talked about Meals on Wheels, and that's really kind of a program that really is not intended to be delivering. So we can certainly do that. And when we communicate, my thought is if we said that to someone, they certainly would say absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine someone not saying they would be interested. Even if they were,
unless they're getting it somewhere else or getting more robust and more choice provisions from some other, because a lot of places have opened up and have expanded their capacity
right.
in the pandemic. So
well, to that point too, and I agree, but to that point too, we are now giving out meat. And in Brian's report, I think everyone saw the different items, and one of them is canned fruits and those, because we're doing the staples. But I think, and we've gone back to the Top Box we had been working with in the past, and we're still working with Grand, but we're not getting fresh fruits and vegetables because it just isn't practical, and it also, could create some kind of a danger for them. But I'll go back and talk with them. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do that. We had, as Alan had mentioned, put a letter out. We talked about calling everybody again. The consensus is let's put something out, perhaps, so that they have it in their hand and they see it. And I saw to it that we did have, notices noting in there that we're obviously updating our operations, and this is what we have available, and we're telling everyone to try to visit once a month. We're encouraging them to tell their neighbors about the pantry, and we've had some people call who aren't pantry people, and Jean and I were even talking that this has certainly given us an opportunity in the future for new clients, even for GA and EA. And we're encouraging them to, and offering to them to, if someone else can pick it up. For instance, today, a couple of the people, I think it was, well, I don't want to go with the agency. One of the agencies had a gentleman bring, it was a friend of a family, and he picked up stuff for 3 people. So that understanding is there, that we're there to work with them. So, but I'll go back and discuss that.
Very good report, Diane. Thank you for the color on that.
Certainly.
You know, one other place we could reach out to are the various family service agencies. Just reminding them
Okay.
that the pantry is available.
Right. And then to that point too, Alan, just to dovetail onto the comments you made about the cards, Jean, in fact, she was delivering, she was back in the office today, and she met with a couple of the people and just actually met, 6 feet away, and was able to deliver some. I think the high school is the one that we're trying to track the woman down with. She lives in Elk Grove or Elgin somewhere. But she again reinforced the idea when she talked with them, please send people to the pantry. She'd done so on her first pass with that, and again when she shared the good news about the cards being available. And so she continuously does that, so that they then can send that message on. And anybody we all talk to, we do the same thing, just to share that.
Okay, anything else on that?
Alan, you had been concerned about liability issues. Did you have a chance to talk to counsel?
No.
Because my own research, I just happened to be, perusing the Local Government Immunities Act, and it seems expressly to be exempted that we would have, a full privilege for providing aid to community members, that there would be no liability.
Okay, well, I will make a stronger effort to speak with Jim this week. I
really was just perusing it because I had another case, but and it just happened to show up.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't peruse that stuff anyway, but I'm glad you do. I was busy with a bunch of tests and stuff last week, but I will make an effort this week.
From a motor vehicle standpoint, anybody who volunteers and uses their personal automobile, that automobile insurance would be primary. There's no insurance company that would be able to successfully argue that you were exceeding the scope of your policy by using your personal vehicle to volunteer on a part-time basis. So there is going to be a layer of coverage there. But again, the standard might be a higher standard because of potential immunity shield by being a volunteer for a municipal entity. But I think that they're just having a personal automobile coverage would be sufficient to cover almost anything that would occur on the roadway.
I'm sure that you're right, but just in case, I want to talk to.
Sure.
I want a letter in our file from counsel that says that makes me sleep better.
Yeah.
Because one of those lawsuits could mount up in a huge hurry.
Yep.
Okay, Jan,
Yes.
your
Hello.
report, please.
Hello, Jan.
Hi there. I emailed it to everybody about an hour ago. Excuse me. We're fairly general. The first quarter statistics are included, not the permit report. We closed, our final appeal date was May 1st, so we are now in simply waiting mode. We do not know any more than we knew 2 weeks ago about what the assessor actually intends to do. We don't know anything about whether they think they're on schedule in terms of finishing appeals for a given jurisdiction. The one thing that we have been told is that, and actually we should have information on that any day now, the Board of Review had hoped to wrap their work from last year up by this weekend, which would mean they need a couple of weeks to get everything organized, wrapped up, sent off to the state so that the state can then do the equalizer. So we are expecting to get the equalizer for 2019, say late May, somewhere in there. And then after that, the clerk compiles the rates, so it's still on track. As of the moment anyway, the plan is that the county is still on track to get our second tax bills out at the usual end of June schedule. The hope obviously is that there will be no delays on that in terms of being able to collect all the funds for 2019 by August 1st. We have not heard anything about whether there will be any kind of a case-by-case determination for people who are experiencing unusual problems at the moment and have difficulty paying the taxes on time, in terms of whether there would be waiving of penalties or something like that. We simply don't know anything at the moment. We know that they're still hoping to get the bills out on time. And aside from that, we're pretty much where we were 2 weeks ago. We still don't know what the floodplain owners are going to have happen to them. We don't know anything about what people's reassessments will look like in the final analysis. And that's it. There we are.
Thank you.
Is anybody there?
Anyone have questions of Jan? Oh, we're all here, I'll tell you. My internet connection is unstable.
I see you all.
Oh, that's comforting.
We were probably on mute.
Okay.
So you all are.
Again, thank you. Emergency response to pandemic. I think in this meeting, you should have received a sheet from Jean, Brian, and Jack. It wasn't categorized as consent agenda this time, but the information should have been sent to you all. Do you have any questions?
I'm not seeing anything from Jean.
I believe that's the only one that didn't make it over there. I can do a quick recap for that.
Please.
And then I'll send that off to, I got that this afternoon. In essence, she is updating the Angel Fund and emergency assistance for housing related to expenses. Again, she notes that she's talking about rent, mortgage, and assessments. And the total amount right now represented is $28,869. She said this is 12 cases involving 35 people just for the March and April and just the beginning of May, which is quite sizable. And she expects it to continue to grow, as we all do, I'm sure. To that point, I could just mention that the donations for the Angel Fund and the pantry continue to come in. In essence, we're actually getting, Brian had mentioned he thinks we're getting more in than we're actually putting out, which though, however, at the point we do start to phase in what we're going to do with the people, we're going to need to have that for the shelves. So we have many, many gracious community people keeping track of us.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Are there any other questions about the reports or the information?
A question for Jack.
Brian just shared?
Jack, is the book drive supposed to go ahead as scheduled? Have you heard anything otherwise?
I had some dialogue last week with Carol from Bernie's Book Bank, and they actually are, in fact, I talked briefly to Alan about it. One of the ideas on the table is actually trying to find an outdoor location to have one massive book drive, like maybe on a Saturday or something like that. Because I don't know if we're going to be able to have the partners like the village halls and that willing to take the Bernie's book donation bins as they have in past years. Everything is so tenuous right now. Bernie's is really struggling because they depend so much on volunteer labor and donations of books that they're trying to reinvent things and be creative. So as far as a next step, I would have to start reaching out to some of the village partners to see if they might be able to let us use a municipal parking lot or some outdoor facility. And Bernie's has these gigantic bins that sit on pallets. So they would be able to provide those and transport those, but they're looking to us for help, to help orchestrate it throughout New Trier Township. So that item does need to be discussed.
Well, Jack, why don't you follow up with the villages and the places you mentioned, maybe Grand Food, but my recollection was they don't want us to put take up their sidewalk space with too much stuff.
Yeah, the only other thing I had was possibly a municipal parking lot or part of a parking lot that they might cordon off for us, for a 4 or 5 hour period.
Right.
We'd have to have, obviously the distance and some kind of a queuing drop off, maybe some volunteers to pitch books into the big bins. So we're going to have to think a little differently, because I'm not confident that the original date was July 7 to August 7 was going to be a 1 month summer drive like we normally do, but I'm not so sure we're going to be able to have these things in the buildings this year that early.
Jack, you might look at the Nielsen Center and or the Winnetka Park District over that way, because they have fairly large parking lots.
I see a trustee of the Park District giving an opinion.
Got it.
There, as you may or may not know, except for just a bit of opening of the golf course, the Park District is locked up tight and they don't want people in their parking lots. And if you want to find out and get permission, getting hold of somebody's going to be a son of a gun, because they're not.
10 or 12.
That's for sure.
Join the meeting.
Okay.
Well,
Folks,
we're starting to open up a little bit beyond the golf courses. At least 2 of our park districts have opened up their tennis courts as of tomorrow. So
one thing I remember in the past is there used to be book drives or book fairs at Eden's Plaza. So the possibility of a public-private partnership here. The thing about having some bins in Eden's Plaza is that the landlord might say that'll help drive businesses, some of its tenants. We might be able to get the cooperation of a shopping center like Eden's Plaza, which isn't terribly busy and they've got a huge parking lot.
good point.
All good possibilities for sure. Yeah, I will do some exploration on it. I just wanted to get the pulse from the board before we went. Alan and I just had a little 5-minute cursory conversation about it last week. So.
Mhm.
Jack, I also want to give you a shout out for the latest issue of the Courier. And I love the way I know we've done it before, but it seems more timely, the way you had the annual report right now, and then you will have another issue. And, who would have even seen the annual report anyway? It's just so great that it went out in the springtime. So congrats. And I've had some good feedback on it too, Jack.
Thank you.
First
I
of all, my
appreciate
mom, she's always the critic of the Courier. And so she's honest and really liked it. So
That's great. Thank you, Jerome. I appreciate it.
I second everything Jerome said. Very well done, Jack.
Thank you.
And we will have to participate in the 4th of July parade again, assuming that it's going to be.
They can't.
Love that picture.
Glencoe came out with a bulletin. They've canceled 4th of July fireworks and the parade for this year. So
Oh,
unfortunately, that's off the
They're
table.
still recovering from the excitement.
Everybody's having street work done now, so they're spending money replacing sewers since nobody's out and about now. So
Oh, yeah. I have some familiarity with that.
yes, you do.
Will Met cancel the 4th of July festivities also?
Well, so they've done the Memorial Day parade. My understanding will be just tiny American flags along the parade route, but no parade. And for 4th of July, I think it's going to be part of the May 25th big announcement from the Park District about summer programming.
So it's still up in the air.
It's still up in the air. We did get an invite to the Juneteenth parade in Evanston. And It is a car parade and it'll be live streamed. That it's obviously outside the township. So I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. I don't
Was
mind-
that for the 4th of July or for Memorial Day?
No, for Juneteenth.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Just celebrate the end of slavery. Oh, look.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what it is. I just,
Another person joined us.
yeah, who
My community
came in?
Who was that?
Whatever.
So if people are feeling it, and if we think it's appropriate to be out, have a township car in the car parade, even though it's slightly outside the township, let me know, and we can decorate our car with our copious amounts of 4th of July decorations and just have a big vote display or something.
Diane, do you remember if we still have those magnetic signs for cars that we used in the disability parade many years ago?
I have not seen them for many years.
Okay.
I could go.
No,
I
you don't
think-
need to go in the basement.
No.
You don't want to go down there. If you don't have it.
All the food, right, with all the food.
Yeah.
We could get somebody's picture and put it on the sign.
Yeah, but I know we had those on
Elliot, perhaps.
Barry Fleischer's convertible for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's going back some there.
I'm old.
Oh, no. Hey, Jack, I keep seeing a phone on the screen. What is that? Jack?
You muted yourself.
Someone else called in. I don't know who called in.
Well, hi, whoever you are.
That's me. It's me. I got disconnected thanks to AT&T, so I called.
Ah,
Oh, and I think we
Hi.
lost, did we lose Sandy too? Sandy
No,
Forrester?
Sandy, I see.
she's there.
Okay.
I had,
Okay.
I had a couple of other emergency response, areas of business. One is the childcare scholarships, which I know like the applications are they out on the website at this point for summer camp, and we don't know what's going to happen with summer camp.
I don't believe they are on. Jack, you could address that, but I know Gene and I were talking about that just the other day. I could get an update for you.
Oh, yeah,
Jack, I don't.
No, I don't
I don't
believe they're
remember.
out there. And I'm now starting to hear and see things about some camps being canceled as well.
Right. So
Right,
I-
and that's what Gene was saying.
was to try to kind of formulate a way to funnel that fund so that we can have those who would have qualified for those scholarships be able to use it towards other childcare.
Well, that would be something we do in conjunction with the family service
Absolutely.
agencies, because they
Right.
did the selection. And so when we talk to them about reminding people about coming to the food pantry, it's a
Mhm.
thing to find out from those folks.
Right.
I'm making a note of that, Ellen, okay?
I'm glad you were.
For Gene.
The other question, I'm sure everyone was listening to the same radio broadcast, but they were talking about Oakton Community College has their new contact tracer program where they're training people virtually for these jobs that will be extremely necessary and prevalent in the coming months. And it's $299. Right now they're completely full, but they're supposed to open more sections. So I reached out to other Gail, who spells it properly, Gail Bush, on Oakton's board, and she brought up that Niles does do scholarships for people who want to do retraining programs. So I intend to explore to see if that's something that New Trier can also do and bring that to the board at our next meeting.
Yeah, if you have a contact on the board, Gail, find out what, they are our representative community college, so find out what, if anything, we could be adding to our information for residents. And if there are scholarship opportunities, we could we could probably participate in that.
Alan, I have a subject that falls in this category. Some or all of you may know that as part of the government giveaway that we all got money in many of us got money in our bank accounts. There is a program, and it will be probably renewed, called the Payroll protection loans. Several of our pro bonos that we fund have gone through the paperwork, and lo and behold, getting, pick a number between 1.5 and 2 months worth of money very quickly from the government. The groups that serve the teens, the youth services groups, got some substantial funds, and I think it behooves somehow us to contact the other 35 or so pro bonos and make sure they're aware of it. Not that we're going to be the channel, but they ought to know about it, and
Sure.
some of them do. And I found out by chatting with a couple of them by accident, they'd never heard of it. And I said, boy, you better talk to your bank, because there's real money there for you. I let Brian know of this, and I got back a really weird response, like something about, oh, we go through the committees. And this is not a case where we're going to want to go through the committees. It's a case where our clients, we'll call them, ought to know about this, and then they have to take the action.
Jack,
So it's, when
you,
I took money,
Jack, you sent me a proof for the next dispatch, which will be this Friday. Could you put something, just a note that it's available from the government? They should go
The
to their bank.
PPP program, yeah,
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 That's a
sure,
good idea.
yeah, for sure.
and they
and then
should,
we'll get it out to a bunch at once.
yeah, they
Yes.
should reach
Same
out
idea,
to
guys,
banks.
is that the second round of loan money has almost been completely distributed already.
Well, I'm sure it
Second
has.
round, and the second round was used in large part for the people who didn't get it in the first round. They
Right.
didn't even accept applications on the second round in some institutions. And if you have any banker friends, most bank guys and women are working 12, 15-hour days right now
Right.
to process the loans that are in the hopper. So I appreciate what you're suggesting, but the practical reality is those funds are pretty well already used up.
But if they're aware of it, they can watch for when
Excuse me,
when
please.
or if it comes up again.
And those funds may have been divided. The Small Business Association loans for the corporations may have been used up, and there may be a demand on it, but they may have segregated some of those funds for municipal entities and agencies, which may not be as tapped out. I think they could have segregated those funds in different categories potentially.
Well, I don't think it-
Let me tell you,
At least they could apply.
Because we went to our bank and said, what's this all about? Last Monday, a week ago. And by Thursday, we had money in our bank account. The forms for it are very quickly filled out. The banker found some money someplace and said to us, gee, you're a week after some of your contemporaries, but if they get the forms filled out and get them into their bankers' hands, if there's more money, and everyone thinks there will be coming through the next time around, they'll be at the head of the line.
Yeah, at a minimum, we could let people know to remind them to go see their bankers and try and get in on that list. Okay, is there anything else?
Oh, and I'm meeting with the legal aid people on Thursday morning, if anyone wants to participate in our Zoom meeting, just to discuss how we can serve clients virtually better. So that'll continue.
Okay, good. Okay, anything else?
Right.
Okay, then we'll move on to new business.
Oh, I had a couple things. I thought you were speaking with Gail. Could I just back up a
Well,
little
I
bit?
was, but now you
That's
can
good.
speak.
Okay. Sorry. All right, just a couple things. I'm working currently to try to get together a draft version of our budget. This is the time of year we usually do this, and I've tried calling the county on numerous times. And Jerome, you might be able to help me out there. They're obviously closed, and they're not even taking any kind of off-site calls, at least the ones I've reached out to. But I'm trying to put something together. We're currently running on our the same budget as we were, just for the purpose of, for instance, we were talking, Gail was mentioning childcare scholarships and that, to use that as kind of a base and for our budgeting. The other thing is the statement of economic interests. I've received a couple emails. I've already submitted that back in early January. And I just want to encourage anyone who hasn't responded to respond and send the information that is needed. We've had folks do that in the past. Now, there's a $15 fee that is assessed. Also, we get on a list, and I just would like to not have that. So I don't have a list yet. I had left messages of anyone that hasn't responded, but if you haven't, please do so. Let's see, what else have I got? All right, we got Jean's. Oh, and the direct deposit. We did institute that at the beginning, actually the end of last month, but the checks that everyone's going to be receiving this Friday will be electronically deposited into your account. I asked that everybody take a look and make sure it does land there. I'll be issuing like an advice document and mailing those to you, which is basically, you know, that shows out that what would be the stub for that. So just be sure to take a look and make sure it got there. I've gotten a confirmation they all were synced, but anything can happen at the banks. And that's all I have.
Diane, I just wanted to add, I'll be on the lookout for any word from the Cook County Clerk, because thus far they've had no word to us about extensions of any filing.
Nothing, and and they're closed, and you can't get. It's very difficult to even get into their system, honestly.
What about contacting Larry Sefferden? Since he represents us.
Okay.
And the other issue for the clerk's office, there's a lot of looming questions about the election, including everything about the election. So I'll just be on guard for that and let you know whenever she gets word to us. She's still a new clerk, and it's different than when David Orr was in charge. It's not a commentary. It's not a political commentary. It's just it's a different, it's a huge operation there, by the way. I hope the board all understands. It's really so many of the employees and the functions are out of the clerk's office. They just all get swallowed into the clerk's office.
Right.
And so many things. So.
Okay. Okay, anything else on the budget or the county stuff?
And I had two questions. One is that economic interest statement, was that an email from you or from the county?
It would be an account. I'd sent an email to advise everyone that was forthcoming. I had gotten it posted, I got it posted a week ago, or a week ahead of time back in January with them. And so they would be reaching out to everybody. If you haven't seen anything, you can go online, and that takes for the Cook County Clerk's office, and there's an ethics, they call it like an ethics or statement of economic interest. And you could just take a look at that and see, or just check your emails. If you haven't seen anything, let me know. Okay, and I'm trying to reach out to them. I've left several messages to try to find out if we have, if there are people that we're referring to in the emails. They just are basically saying, you know, please follow up. But if I did learn that, I wouldn't announce that at this meeting. But I will. Let me know, Stefan, if you haven't seen it.
And my other question, Diane, on the budget, if we have a budget item for daycare scholarships or summer scholarships, and we use those funds for something else, do we have to amend the budget, or how do we do it as a practical matter?
As a practical matter for right now, we would use those dollars, and I would build that into that, or those kind of adjustments that we're looking at. If we were looking at, I'm sorry.
Would that be the kind of shift that we normally do? That a whole new category, or what?
Well, since it hasn't been submitted and the budget and hasn't been approved or signed off, or any kind of a public hearing or any kind of those items, we still have that flexibility. Once it's signed off and Jerome takes it and it becomes the document and confirmed, then if that was the case, we would have to, if it was for I think it's 35,000. I don't have the information here at home with me, but it's 35,000 or whatever. That that would have to be transferred. And would that then take up our total amount at the end of the year? I mean, it probably wouldn't, but I would rather plan ahead. So if we're looking at those kind of items, let's get it, get ahead of the head of the train, so to speak, so that we have those. And thoughts like that, certainly, and I make a note scale on the things you're saying in that. If people are thinking in terms of that, we talked about projects of township significance. I can't say pots when we're doing, but if we're looking at that, those I think are really the soft spots for us, because that would give us then the wherewithal to use those dollars and then just, disseminate them as was approved or determined.
So the money you're talking about using for this summer's daycare scholarships, if you will, is not from the old budget, it's from the new budget?
It would be, yeah, because we're physically in the new year. And that's, it would be from the new budget. I'm looking at just using as an anchor our current budget, our past year budget, just as a point of reference, because reasonably speaking, if we had 35,000 in that line item, we wouldn't go 135. We would, look at that in increments. Gina and I've been talking about the emergency assistance and all that, and those kind of notes I build into my notes. But if we're going to do that for the child and not use child care scholarships, then we should look at where we're going to put that or create a new line item. We might be able to do something of that nature in the pots section. But we're looking to answer your question. Simple answer is it's this year's budget, but we have flexibility because it hasn't been approved.
Could we consider some kind of a line item for pandemic expenses? And
Absolutely.
Have a generic category?
Yeah, it would be something in under the pots, if you would, or we could make it a separate line item, and maybe come up with an interesting title. We could use that, but I would do it as I would recommend putting it in and then allocating or earmarking it, if you will, in that budget line item.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So any new business? Any old business? I have just like a community warning for you guys. If you see bonfires around the area tonight, don't worry.
What is that?
It's a very obscure Jewish holiday where some people have bonfires. And I could legally, under Jewish law, get a haircut. So if any of you know of any barbers that I could get to without driving to Iowa.
Alan, mine's making house calls.
What?
Mine's making house calls. She'll come into your garage and cut your hair in your garage.
Sounds kind of strange to me.
I'm ready.
I invested in clippers for my kids.
Yeah, I don't know. I may give you a call, Stefan. My wife may. I don't. Okay. No old business, no new business. So I would. No, we have to set a date for our next meeting. I would suggest June 9th. Is that okay with everyone?
Grabbing the calendars here.
It's the second Tuesday in June.
Fine.
Okay. So before we take a move to adjourn, thank you for coming, Kate. I hope you come back again. I like your smiling. That's better than some visitors. But thank you.
I absolutely will. Don't be distracted by the smile. I'm from New Jersey, so it's hiding a lot.
Uh-oh. I went to school in New York City, so I'm aware of that. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Jerome, you could sort that out. All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Okay, thank you all very much. And we'll see you with second Tuesday in June. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Happy Memorial Day.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. And to everyone.